everything dried out here because it's all nasty.
Yes. So, my stuff here. Alright. So, Mary-Beth, let me just, your correct spelling of your name. Can you just do that for me if you don't mind?
Okay. Mary, M-A-R-Y.
Okay. And then space.
Well,
Or is it
on
not-
my birth certificate, it's just one name.
Okay.
But sometimes on my license, it's
Hyphen.
no, it's not. There's never been a hyphen, but sometimes it's separated. Mary-Beth.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be together, though. In reality,
Legally,
that's not supposed to be.
I believe on my birth certificate.
That's what it says.
It says.
Okay. Good. And your-
Tomaselli is Tomaselli.
Okay. And your current address?
3510 Wembley Way,
W-E?
M-B-L-E-Y,
Uh-huh.
number 103, Palm Harbor.
Okay.
34685,
Okay. And your date of birth?
21056,
And your phone number?
727
Uh-huh.
485 5920.
5920?
Correct.
Okay. So, like I said, I appreciate you coming here. So, and I know you're trying to figure out the way I am, and I'm not here yelling at you, I'm just talking to you, okay? I like honesty, okay? And I know you're the type of person is the same way.
Yes,
I can
sir.
I see it, all right? I see it in you. And I know you're still trying to figure out what the heck is going on, okay? But I want you, right now is your opportunity that we're going to be honest with us.
Okay.
All right? And we can go from there. All right? So that being said, I want to talk to you, and I want to explain everything to you.
Okay.
We'll do that in detail so you understand what's going on.
But prior to doing, we're here at the sheriff's office. I mean, we live in the United States. We have rights.
Right.
Okay? So I just got to read you your rights, and then we'll get into everything. Okay?
All right.
All right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We'll explain everything that's going on. Just give us 30 seconds and we'll have this ironed out. So don't we
don't
have to-
freak out.
Certain
Don't
procedures
freak
you have
out.
to go through. So
I'm just wet. I'm cold.
Okay.
I understand.
Understandable. All right. So you have the right to remain silent. You understand that?
Are you arresting me?
No.
Didn't say that.
Didn't
No,
say
we're
that.
going to tell you what's going on, but before we do that, we have no
I
other
don't
choice.
know.
We have to tell you that. So
Okay. It doesn't mean you're under arrest or anything. I just want to talk to you.
Okay.
All right. So I just have to explain your rights.
I don't understand.
Okay.
okay, that's why he's explaining them to you so you understand.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any question if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand these rights I explained to you?
Yes.
Okay. Having your rights in mind, you wish to talk to us. Like I said to you, I want to explain everything to you.
Okay.
All right? So that's what we need to do.
All right.
You okay with that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, do you have any idea why you're here? A slight idea or anything why you're here at the sheriff's office?
I think I may have an idea. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. Tell me why you think you're here.
It's okay. Listen, Mary-Beth, I like honesty, okay? I'm looking at you, and I know something's been bothering you, okay? And that's normal. Do I think you're a bad person?
No.
I don't, okay? Do I think people make mistakes in life, okay? I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We're not perfect, okay? However, I always raise, just like with your daughter, you have a daughter, right? You expect two daughters, right? You raise them to be truthful,
Right.
okay? You expect, hey, if they make a mistake, to own up to their mistakes and
Just move forward.
learn from it, and go from there.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct.
You seem very honest, and you just tell
So-
everybody it's being with you a short period of time that you're a very upfront person.
And the way we were talking in the car, and the way that I can see, because I've been doing this 20 years. He's been doing this 30-something years. Okay, so I get a good read on people, and I could see that in you, that something's really bothering you, and you think, and that I know what's bothering you. And
So we're all adults, and let's just be upfront about what's going on. Is that fair? You seem like a very upfront type of person, so you know why you're.
Yes, I'll go get you
I didn't hear what you said.
Kleenex.
Oh yeah, go.
Let me go get.
Or we'll stand by just for a
Just hold
second.
on 1 second.
That's fine. We'll walk through this and you will feel better about what's going on. Everybody get Kleenex.
So Mary-Beth, like I explained, you know why
I
we're
just saw a picture of my father.
here. So, and you know why we're here. And you know
Yes.
why you're here. Okay? So right now, and I could tell things have been bothering you. And I know it's not. So I want to hear from you what happened.
Okay, what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Shall I go back to from?
We're here. We
Okay.
have time.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh yeah, go back to where you need to begin. This way.
All right. My father. Well, first of all, my stepmom. Well, they weren't married. My father
Right.
and Shirley weren't married. They were together 15 years, and she had heart problems.
Yes, ma'am.
And the year before she died, she was in the hospital, in and out. So, with surgeries and different things.
Did they live together or they
Yeah,
were separate?
yes, no,
they lived
they
together
lived
as partners.
there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
they were. They just weren't married.
Okay, but they lived together.
But she was like my mother.
Okay.
If you could pick someone.
Okay.
She got sick, and it was about a year that she
Okay.
was sick in and out of the hospital. My father, Alzheimer's and dementia runs in my family, and
Right.
I've already been talking with my doctor about
Right.
it. That's how
Because it runs in the genes.
it runs in the genes, and I can't remember a lot of things, and I am forgetful, and I'm pretty sure it's not just normal. But
Understand?
anyway, my father's and it goes back in generations, all of my family.
Mhm.
All of my aunts had it really, really bad. My father had, his dementia was getting rather bad,
His mental state.
his mental state.
Okay.
You would have to tell him basically to eat. He couldn't be left alone.
Okay. He needs
And
supervision.
He needed supervision.
Okay.
Shirley was in the hospital now all the time, or in a rehab, so she was not at home. her niece, who was a drug addict, was staying there at the house, at my dad's house, to help her aunt and help out around because she didn't have a job and she didn't have any money.
Right.
So, and my brother and my sister and I, we all had jobs and we all had work, so we couldn't be there during the day.
Right.
So it became more, the sicker Shirley got, and the more, then she said, it's your father, you need to come on the weekends and
Right.
spend time, or if Shirley goes in the hospital in the middle of the night, you're going to be called and you need to come and take care of your father, which is understandable. Is understandable. So our lives had changed. My sister was married. She wasn't as accessible, and I think she had a mild stroke. She had a bit of a hypochondriac, so I don't remember exactly all of her illnesses. My brother lives in Bradenton,
Mm-hmm.
and we had West Shore Pizza down there, and he couldn't come up all the time always. So
Right.
most of the time, I was called because I lived just in Tampa in West Chase. So I
It's close.
was
You can toggle
closer.
back and forth.
So, if my father needed something, but most of the time I was starting to spend, every weekend, or he would call me at 4 a.m. I would go over there and I would spend every weekend with him, take him, we'd sit at the nursing home, but all day, go to church, go to
Was it
dinner.
a nursing home or was it his house?
No, I would stay at his house with him.
Okay.
He was not a nursing home
Okay.
yet. We had found that he had a policy for which he had used for my mom, that he had prepaid for an assisted living or a nursing home for 3 years. That he had prepaid for that. So if indeed, he did get Alzheimer's or had a stroke or something, he had already paid for it and wouldn't have to come out of his insurance and so forth for 3
Understood.
years. So we
Right.
knew that. So we knew he was going downhill almost literally weekly. He was changing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with Shirley and everything. So we went ahead and my brother and sister and I, we looked at assisted livings, and we found one on Curlew Road, I think it's called Brookdale.
Yes.
Okay, and but we didn't tell him that because we knew she was dying.
Right. Now, what year was this with her?
Oh,
He passed in 2015, so we're back up
she died 3 weeks before he.
3 weeks. So this is
She
pretty
died.
much the same timeline
Yeah.
we're talking about. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
she died on February 22nd on her birthday,
Mhm.
and then my father tomorrow would be the day that he died. And so we felt that would be best for him because we can't quit work and live with my father.
Because it was very trying to take care of him. You have your job.
Right. And he had this policy and he would be
It
in
made sense then.
he would be okay.
Okay.
We would still visit him and so forth, but he would be taken care of during the day without hiring someone to come in and take care of him during the day. But his Alzheimer's was getting so bad, we had to take, my sister was power of attorney, we did have to take the checkbook away because Shirley was in the hospital and she was paying the bills and so forth, and my father, you could put anything in front of him.
He would just.
He would sign.
So someone had to take control.
That makes sense.
So
And
this-
she was doing it beforehand, so somebody needed to take
Right,
charge of that
Shirley couldn't do
situation.
it, so
All
we
right.
had to do that.
Understood.
But the sicker Shirley got, the worse my father's Alzheimer and understanding of what was really going on. And a lot of people are in denial when they know, he was hoping that she wasn't dying and
He might have known this deep down. He knew maybe it was something.
No,
He did not know.
he
He couldn't comprehend that
He
it was
couldn't
happening.
comprehend
Okay.
that she was dying.
Okay.
He knows
Okay.
that she was in the hospital, but he felt she was coming home.
Right.
And
But
he
you
felt-
guys probably knew she
We
probably
knew
not.
that she was.
Okay.
Everyone in her family had died by the age of 40, and she
Oh,
lived
wow.
to be 80.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
she
a
had
long time. Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
it
Okay.
was many surgeries, but that's the way it was. But my father was, the dementia had set in pretty well. I don't know if he was taking any medication for the dementia
Right.
or anything. He may have denied it, but just no way you couldn't tell that he was. And he was up all night. He drank very heavily at night, and he always had since we were little. Both my parents did. And we saw my father going downhill. And one night, and I don't remember if we told him, this was after Shirley had died.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister and I were staying at the house because we were getting things together. We spent the night at his house because he couldn't be left alone overnight.
Right.
I'd leave at 4 a.m. She wasn't working.
Okay.
Okay. She's been on disability, I think, 5 or 6 years now. And I think she was going through a divorce at that time.
Okay.
Her husband. So I would leave at 4, drive to Tampa, get ready for work, and then go to work. Nonetheless, watching my father, and also we had received a phone call. He had lung cancer.
Right.
I can't remember how many years ago right now, and had part of his lung removed. And we had gotten a call within a week's time from the doctor. He had a doctor's appointment, I think maybe the day after Shirley passed away. I can't remember
Right.
exactly.
But close proximity, that's about the time.
The doctor said they did a chest X because he always had a cough, but then he was also smoking on the side. We knew he was smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
He knew better, but we
Right.
could smell it on him.
So he was still smoking, even
He
though
was
he's not
smoking.
supposed to. All right.
But they said they had found a large mass in his other lung, and he was going to have to go in the next day to the pulmonologist. And with his dementia so bad,
Mm-hmm.
and him, we had several arguments when we told him that he was
Between you guys and him, me and your
right,
sisters.
my brother and my sister and I.
Trying to get him into the home.
Right. Once Shirley had passed away, we told him, Dad, you have this policy and you have a option because you can't live alone here and we can't come and live with you and
Right.
take care of you. And we went ahead and we took him to the assisted living and showed it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was not happy. He balked at it. He knew he didn't want to go there.
Right.
Obviously, which I'm sure, because he was used to his home, but we couldn't have changed our
Of course.
lives.
Right.
But his dementia and his temperament had changed, and I can see him when we were trying to explain to him that this is the way it's going to be, Dad. You're going to have about 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll put the house up for sale, or you can rent it out, but you're going to have to be in an assisted living. You have your own apartment, and it wasn't even to the dementia area. It was just the regular part. But we knew.
You have staff where they could check on him and what have you.
Right,
Able to
they
do
could
it.
come
Okay.
in, but we knew he was not going to be able to last in that regular part of the assisted living, that he was going to have to be put in the dementia area.
But this may have been a good transition, at least get him
Well,
acclimated to
maybe
it.
for a week,
Not very long though, because he was going to have. Okay.
because we had, if you would have to have lived with him to see
Understandable.
to see how it was, and he was getting very angry and very agitated, and I remember several conversations with him, and he would get up and he would stomp his feet and he would call us, who made you the jury and the judge and to make the choice for me to,
Right.
I'm sorry to do
No,
this.
Oh no, you're demonstrating. No, I totally understand.
This is and more confusing and more understanding. It was uncontrollable, basically. And we didn't know how.
And you guys didn't have the time to basically, because you had your life going on, to stay there at the house, right?
Right, I
'Cause you
had
had
to
your
make a
own-
living.
You had to
I
make
don't
a
have
living,
any-
you have your life,
Right,
and he didn't want to go into the home.
he didn't, yeah, he
Okay,
didn't
so
want to
then-
go into home. But the other thing was the lung cancer
The lung
coming
cancer.
back. He was gonna have to have the surgery, the chemotherapy, and everything else that goes with that. And with his dementia. I believe it was on a Wednesday evening, I came home from work.
You did.
Yeah, I came
Okay,
home from work.
okay.
My sister was already there.
So your sister, who, so,
It was just me and my sister and my father.
okay,
We made him his drink. He drank a couple Cokes and vodkas that night,
so
every
you,
night.
you said that you and you, earlier, you said that you guys talked.
Yes, well, okay, I'm getting to that. So
Okay,
my
I'm sorry.
my oldest daughter,
Okay, who's that?
her name is Lauren Johnson.
Okay,
She was in the other bedroom.
oh, so
She
it was you?
my oldest daughter has a past. My
Mhm.
oldest daughter is bipolar.
okay,
Okay.
She has been in jail.
Okay.
that's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
I've enabled her and I've tried since she was 18. She's tried to commit suicide several times. I've been through a lot with her.
Understand.
It's
Okay.
what happens, but nonetheless, she was still my daughter. And
That's your daughter.
I'm going off track
Okay,
anyway. This one night, I came home and my sister, who's in the medical field, she's a certified medical assistant,
oh, she's an assistant?
a CMA,
Okay.
So what's her name?
Okay.
Linda Roberts.
Okay, continue.
She said to me that she had been thinking about Dad and his situation with his lung cancer coming back, with what we were going to deal with, his dementia, him not understanding, and what it was going to be like for him. And the way we felt he was suffering, the way we felt he was suffering, that she said she thought that
It's okay.
perhaps we could put him out of his suffering.
Okay.
Was this a conversation you had in person or over the phone?
No, together.
You were together at his
We were
house.
laying in bed together.
Okay,
No,
okay,
no.
just making sure I understand what we're saying. Okay, continue. Sorry.
So you guys were laying, it was you and your sister?
Yeah.
Okay, and this was that Wednesday?
I believe
Wednesday
it
or
was
something?
Wednesday. I
Okay.
believe it was on Wednesday.
So then what did you say to that?
Well, at that moment, after everything, the way things were at this time, I had hesitations. However, I understand I don't have the right to take someone's life, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay,
I know right from wrong.
okay.
However, I felt I couldn't see my father at 88 going through, sorry, I keep
It's fine.
shut up,
That's
That's okay.
going through this surgery. I didn't think he was going to make it through this surgery, this dementia. I couldn't handle watching my father suffer this way 24/7, the way he was going. And unless you lived with him and saw him, and I was with him from Friday night through Sunday morning when I went to work,
Mhm.
I was the one that was with him. I honestly felt that I couldn't watch my father suffer this way.
Okay.
So
what,
I agreed with her.
and what was the plan?
Her plan was, my father took sleeping pills
Okay.
at night. He took Xanax as well, and blood pressure, and cholesterol. I don't remember exactly what medications my father took. And she said that if we were to do this, when my dad had a drink that evening, on that Thursday evening,
Okay.
that we would put, she thought, I think 15 of his sleeping pills, and I don't remember if they were capsules, honestly, or if they
Okay.
were tablets, put it in his drink, and And he would make a big drink.
What was that? What kind of alcohol would that be?
Vodka and Coca-Cola.
Okay.
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 I believe.
He would drink this every night?
He would drink 2 or 3 every
2 or 3
night.
a night, okay.
And most nights he could hardly walk, and he was always falling
Okay.
in the bed. Falling, getting out, going into the bathroom. And she said we would put the sleeping pill in his
drink.
when he asked for it about 9 or 10 o'clock. I can't remember about
Oh,
what
that's
time.
fine.
First I would take him for a ride to the beach. He would want to go to Clearwater Beach every night. He had restless legs too. And I would drive him. Sometimes we'd get to Sunset Point and then we'd turn around. Sometimes we'd get all the way to the beach and turn around.
Okay.
That was our nightly ritual.
Okay.
So I came back, and she didn't. I don't remember if she was with. She was with that night in the car. And when we came home, it was premeditated,
Okay.
and so I am the one that put
The sleeping pills.
sleeping pills in his drink.
Let me ask you this: your daughter.
My sister had. I didn't realize it. My dad had 2 bedrooms. And
Okay.
my daughter, my oldest daughter, was in the other bedroom, but my sister had given her a sleeping pill, so she was asleep.
So she can sleep through. So this.
Right, and the door was closed.
So she did not know any of this was
No.
going on as far as you know?
No,
Okay.
sir.
But you didn't know this at the time, but she told you subsequently that she gave her a sleeping pill, or?
Oh yeah, she did
Okay.
tell me that
All right.
she gave her a sleeping pill. But
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
So-
excuse me.
Okay, you're fine. So
And so
you.
I don't know a lot about those medications. I didn't realize that. Excuse me. That she thought it was going to be a small glass, a drink,
So
but
you-
I made him his regular one.
Regular one.
So her calculation was off.
Okay. So then what happened? Did you give him the? Where was
So
he at?
he was sitting on the couch,
Okay.
and he usually had his nightly prayers. Always, he said his
That's a nightly ritual that you would do. Okay.
What do you have? Like little prayer cards?
yeah, prayer cards. Some of them were in Italian, some were in English, and he would
Okay.
say them every night.
Okay. So then go on.
So he did that, and we gave him his drink, and with her calculations, he would have passed away calmly.
Okay.
Yes, was it the hardest thing I ever did? Yes.
Okay.
However, the portion of the drink opposed to the
The
medication
ratio. Okay.
didn't work.
Okay.
Okay, so the glass dropped. It affected him, but it didn't pass away.
So what did he do?
So he was kind of struggling around. And at this point, you had seconds. After this wasn't planned. After this, what to do next.
Okay.
You did that the first thing would work.
I followed her lead.
Okay.
Okay.
And so she said, okay, now we had to be quiet. She said, let's put a pillow over Dad's face.
Okay.
Okay? And that didn't work because he was
So
strong.
who
He was
did?
strong.
Who put?
I don't remember which one of
Okay.
us put the pillow over his face.
And where was your dad when you were
He's
doing
on the
it?
couch.
So he was
In the living room.
In the living room. It
Understood.
was real quiet.
Okay.
It didn't, there wasn't any, no, I'm not smiling.
I understand.
And that wasn't working because he was very strong and he was pushing it off. And so she said, okay, the next thing we'll have to do is we have to get a washcloth and put it in his mouth, and we're going to have to hold his nose, and
hold his
we
arms.
had to finish what we had started.
Okay. So at that time,
I believe I don't know how I held his nose, and I had to try to hold his arms down because
So you kind of pinned him down?
yeah,
Okay,
with
so
like his hand on his
was he
wrist.
fighting? So he was
He
fighting?
was fighting. Of course, he was fighting to get breath.
Okay. So then,
But so this happened. I mean, it didn't take very long for this. Then once there was no air coming in, I don't know, a few minutes maybe.
okay.
I honestly, I can't. I didn't black out, but I can't. It was like an out of body experience. I can't remember exactly, but that's exactly how it went.
So then your sister grabbed the washcloth
Yeah.
and put it in his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, and you held his nose
I
and arms.
Yeah, tried.
Tried.
To
And
hold
he was
them
fighting the whole
Yeah,
time?
yeah, for maybe a minute or so. I honestly can't remember, sir, how long, but it wasn't very long. And he did have a pacemaker, and because but you could see that he wasn't breathing, but his pacemakers.
It's mechanical, obviously. So.
Obviously,
Right.
I know medical billing, I don't know the other side of the
But it makes
medical.
sense that probably is how that went then. Okay.
Right.
All right.
And so when we realized that he had passed on, we went to bed. I slept in my clothes. I didn't sleep.
Right.
You went to bed, but
We
you
went
didn't.
to bed.
Both
And
you and Linda did.
he was on the couch. And my
Okay.
daughter never woke up,
Was he sitting on the couch or laying on the couch?
laying on the couch.
Okay.
At that time,
Halfway on the laying. Half of his legs were on the floor.
And he was kind of slouched over and kind of
No,
just on the couch.
no, yeah, his head was on the, laying back on the arm of the couch.
And his feet were off.
And his feet were
Lower
off.
torso
On
would
the
be off.
floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
And
then
so we got,
you end up going into bed, and
Yeah.
then
and then
Okay.
I got up to go to work, I think 5:36 in the morning, 4 maybe, I can't remember, to go back to Tampa, and then the rest was,
so all right.
we
So
called the sheriff.
now, who did the calling?
I don't remember, honest to God, I don't remember.
How did did you get your daughter?
We called 911.
You
Yes,
your
we
daughter?
called my daughter. Yeah, my daughter. Called 911 and said we found my father on the couch and he's not breathing. My sister did actually jump on top of him, was trying to do CPR.
Which you guys knew.
Which, yes, sir.
And it was all planned for when
One night was planned.
so what I'm saying is, so when the deputies arrived.
Oh no, yeah, I don't know why she did that.
Did she do CPR while he was on the couch, or was he moved?
No, on the couch.
She tried to do CPR on the
She
couch.
only weighs 100 pounds, so she sat on top of him and was trying to do CPR.
Okay. All right.
So whether it was she was trying to or
Acting like she was
my
trying
God,
or something.
What did we do? That can't be in her mind
Of
at
course
this
not.
point, and in mine at this point.
Mhm.
But it was. I'm telling you the truth.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I really do, Mary-Beth, appreciate you being honest with us. And, because this has probably been inside you all these years. Okay? And it's sort of, sometimes it's, all that's building up in you. And it kind of somewhat, yes, there's, you're going to feel a lot better at this point that it's off, and now you can move on. Okay?
I'll never move on from this, ever.
So who decided at that time what story to tell the deputy of what happened?
He told him that we mixed him in his drink, and which is true. Sometimes he would stay up till midnight and watch basketball games, or whatever, baseball.
Right.
I don't remember, but the TV was on, and which was nothing basically other than what we had done was unusual for my father. He would make
That was his regular routine,
His regular
except
routine.
for the other.
what we did.
Except for putting the pills in
Yes,
there.
he would have gotten up and made his own drink, 2 or 3 more drinks,
Okay.
and then stumbled to bed and we could hear him stumbling, and because we would be in the other bedroom, and
Okay.
we could hear him stumbling. But so the sheriffs came, and of course we did not tell them what we did.
Obviously.
But in my mind, at that time, I felt I couldn't see my father suffering. I know I don't have the right to do that. But at that time, I felt I couldn't see him suffering with surgery and going through that as well.
And what about now?
What about now?
What are you thinking now?
I
After all these years.
I think I did the right thing. I still don't think I could live with myself watching my father suffer like he was doing. You would have to see the way he was acting all day, and he was like kind of crazy.
Vastly different than you
Vastly
remember.
different,
I understand.
and every day it was getting worse and worse on him.
You guys could see the light in the tunnel, what was happening here.
I
The
could.
dementia, the cancer was not going to be good. He may not survive the surgery.
Right.
He's
And
88
he
years
may
old.
have survived this.
And he also may not have, but 88 is not 25, so
No,
I understand
that's
that.
true. But
Okay.
I felt that I couldn't watch my father without his mind and not knowing what he was doing, going on. And I know they have medications for that and so forth. But at that time, dealing with the death of Shirley and my father, going upside down with his dementia, getting even worse, and the way he was acting every day, I didn't have the heart to sit and watch it. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
So this was all, so you're saying that this was all.
I had
when
never
this-
thought of it in a million years until just like that
Basically, until Linda brought this up to you.
Yeah, within this short period of time, it would ever cross my
But the
mind.
night before you guys talked about it, and like you said, it was premeditated,
Yes, sir.
and you knew you were going to kill your father. And that was the plan, to try to give him a lethal dose of
His sleeping medicine.
sleeping medicine.
And
Which
what
your-
she had
which
done,
your
what
sister-
she was on the same sleeping medication, and I think she had extra
Mhm.
because we couldn't.
Meaning Linda to some
My
player.
sister
I understand. Okay.
So she couldn't have less in her bottle, or we couldn't have taken 15 pills out of his sleeping pills, and then it'd be short.
I understand.
So we didn't touch his, I believe it was hers.
Okay,
She
so
had
his would still be intact. You're talking about there might be a discrepancy in the pill count.
right.
If you'd taken that many out of his and just put it in his drink.
Exactly.
So then it was decided between you guys that you would take the stuff out of Linda's then and use her
Correct.
prescription medication,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was no sign, so it'll be all, when the deputy got there and stuff,
When the
and they
deputy,
look in
when
there,
they did,
they would think it'll be natural.
right
No
after.
suspicion.
Right. After they took my father and they took him off the couch and laid him on the ground, and I guess they had to see the blood that had
That's correct.
sinks down,
Mhm.
and that could give
Then
them a sort of estimate time of death by looking at that.
Yes.
Okay. And then I don't remember all the questions, but they asked who's the person that fills your bottle. He had a pill bottle,
Pill count.
pill count, and I was the one that filled the pill count
Okay.
at night or once a week. And so I had to count each one and so forth, and everything, came out exactly.
As it should, because you didn't use any of
I
those.
didn't use any of those. Or
You
any
used
of
the
the-
ones that your sister brought.
That's correct.
Let me ask you, who decided to, or was it a joint effort, and who decided to use her pills versus his? Was that just a
Oh,
joint?
hers.
Was hers Linda's? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it makes sense. I understand what you're saying. Let's make sure I'm clear on what you're telling me. I
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it made sense.
Right. Now, let me ask this. Who else have you told about this or talked about it? I know who was there, but since this point.
The only person is this monster of a man that I met this.
Do you mean he's a big person, or what do you mean
No,
he's a
I'm
monster?
saying he is a very bad
He's a bad person, is what you're saying. Okay.
I met him, I went out with him 4 times.
Right.
His name is Anthony Marsh.
Okay.
And my sister and I were going to go to the grave, and we were never going to tell anyone of what we had done.
Right.
And yeah, it has killed me. And evidently, I think it was this week, this is Tuesday,
Yes.
last Thursday, I came home from work and was getting out of my car, and he showed up, and he said he needed to talk to me. Now, I don't talk to this man. He's been dating my sister. I dated him maybe back in July. I went out with him 4 times, and I broke up with him because he was married. He was a musician, and he was a monster.
Right. So you didn't want anything to do with
I
it.
didn't want anything to do with him.
But
I
then-
broke it, and I found out he had injunctions against him from other women. My daughter told me that. So,
You want to have nothing to do with it.
and the only time I had anything to do with him is when because my sister was still dating him.
Did she know these things that you just spoke to us about? Did you relay
Does
this
she
to her?
know this
Yes,
now?
yes.
No, because he basically blackmailed me on last Thursday night. He came to my
blackmailed you?
yes.
How did
He
he do that?
came to my house.
Okay.
He said he needed to talk to me about something very important.
Right.
Well, and you probably, I don't know if you know, but I'll go on to that, but he said, I need to talk to you about something very important, and I can only assume it has to be about my sister.
This is the commonality between the two of you. Okay.
Right.
Understood.
They started seeing each other. I mean, I saw him 4 times, and on the 3rd time he met her, they started dating behind my back. But there was nothing between him. I mean, if you want to get personal on it, I had moved on. I said, I don't want to ever see you again, and never had contact.
That was it.
Unless I came home from work and he happened to be there. But he used to show up like at 2 a.m. He was a musician and come in the front door and come in the whatever. It was toxic for me.
Right.
Okay.
And I said, all right, you can come in the house. What is it you have to say? He sat me down on the couch and he said, I want you to tell me the truth. He said, your sister told me something and I want to hear it from you. I want to hear what your side of the story is opposed to what she said. And right then I knew that my sister had obviously told him.
Right.
And he said that she told him that it was my idea. I had filed bankruptcy. I filed bankruptcy when I was married 23 years and I got divorced after 23 years and I lost my house. So I filed bankruptcy 18 years ago.
Right.
Quite a while ago.
Quite a while ago.
Okay.
I didn't just file bankruptcy.
Right.
I've lived on my own. I dated off and on, but no one serious. I took care of myself.
Okay.
I didn't do it for money.
I understand that.
That never ever.
It was not part of this.
If it would have been anything, I would have signed the money away. And honestly, whatever I inherited, it went all to my children.
Okay.
I did buy a condo. I mean a mobile home, and I did buy my father's car, and the rest went for my children, my grandson's private
Right.
school and so forth. Not that I'm trying to.
No, I just want to get a clearer
I-
picture of what's going on, obviously.
So she told him it was my idea. I did it because I had filed bankruptcy. I had no money, and it was.
All of that not true.
I did all of that,
All of it not true, though.
and all of it's not true. It
Because
was
it was your
absolutely.
sister's
It was
idea.
my sister's idea.
Just like you described to us,
Yes.
exactly how it happened.
However, unfortunately, I'm not playing tit for tat or anything, but we have had a very rough year because my sister is a pathological liar.
Okay.
Okay? Nonetheless, you have no proof of that.
Well, she's your sister. You were
Okay?
listening to what you're saying. So.
However, she was married to someone. She got a divorce, but he did try to choke her 3 times. She took him,
Who's that person?
Who's that?
Ted Roberts. Now they're divorced now.
Okay, but they were married.
At that time, they were married. She had divorce papers
Right.
All
at
right.
that time.
Are they married now?
No, they got divorced because he tried it. He did it 3 times.
He tried to choke
her, and she went back to him. So we've lived together this past year. We decided that we would live together.
Okay.
So we moved in to this condo that we're in.
Is she living there now?
She just bought she paid a year's rent, right, because our credit wasn't very good. So she paid a year's. We moved in April 1st a year ago.
Okay.
So she paid a year.
So
And
it's
I
coming
paid
up
her.
in April.
Right. So she did a horrible thing. She kept thinking that this Anthony and I were still talking. I had nothing to say to him.
Right.
I call him Satan
Right.
because he's just such a horrible person. But she continued to see him. She was home all day. She had nothing to do. She's not stupid. She's a very smart person. But she had nothing to do all day, and her mind just did twisted things.
Right.
She's evil. I'm sorry.
Your sister is?
Yes. Evil person.
I hate to bring this part of this up, but I'm gonna have to.
Yes,
It's gonna come out, and I don't want to try to get in your business too much. This 4 times that you saw this Anthony person, you're saying?
Yes. Did I have relations with him?
Yes.
I did. Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And then you decided to break it off, and all that's still true.
Yeah,
It just happened the way it happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have it. I blocked him immediately that
Okay.
night that I did, and I've never, ever, and till this day, she still thinks that I have a secret way of talking to him and so forth.
See,
She
she's jealous?
She's jealous of me.
Even though you're not, that's not happening.
No, I found a wonderful man that I've been dating now 6 months, and the most remarkable person I've ever met in my entire life.
Right.
And she was jealous of that.
And she
Okay.
wanted that.
So
She wanted that,
she
so
wanted
okay, I
that,
see,
but
I'm
she
starting to see where we're going here. Okay.
So, let's see, what happened that she did? Oh, so she, in this past year, every month, basically, I know I'm going off base.
That's okay, no, I'm with you, go ahead.
Every month, Ted was her husband, Ted Roberts, that she married, the one that choked her.
Okay.
Once here, she filed charges, and I think she dropped them. Then they used to take care of her grandson, and one day he was upset. He had a bad day, and Ted took his hands and put them around his neck. He didn't choke him, but he told the judge, he open-fisted, put his hands around his neck to tell him, don't throw your pencil at your grandmother. And so they took him to court for that.
Okay.
But that was expunged, or
Right.
whatever. I don't know your...
Okay.
Okay.
Is that here? Or
That was here.
in
That was here.
Florida, okay.
Yeah, they owned a condo in Countryside. Because my niece, the father, she's not married to the father. Her husband is an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And so the father was angry that my niece didn't marry him. And he was jealous of who she married.
Gotcha.
So he was making accusations against my niece, like, you know, Aiden says you don't pay attention to him, or Aiden says you're mean to him.
Okay.
And so I guess he was calling DCF and saying things
Right.
like that, or like Aiden hit his mom because she wouldn't, some things like that.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't know how that would drop a charge, but it did.
Okay.
Then, so every other month I would come home from work and there would be a letter on my counter saying, you're not going to understand, but I'm going back to Ted. He moved to North Carolina
Right.
after the divorce and bought a condo in North Carolina.
What year was this that they got divorced and then he moved to North Carolina, if you know?
Going on maybe 5 years now.
Okay. All right.
Could be close to that.
Okay.
I'm sure you have records of it.
Right, I'm just trying to find out.
Yeah.
Just so I get a time.
So for this year that I lived with her, she went back to him 6 times out of 8 months, because we're not at the end of the year. Every month,
Okay.
I would
goes
come
there.
up, she would pack up her car or fly up and go back there. She would stay there a couple weeks or a month, and she'd come home.
Something would happen,
So,
and then she'd have to
they
come
would
back.
fight, and she told me he was on drugs, and he was doing cocaine, and she saw him, and there are just so many stories, sir. I cannot.
Right.
I understand.
So
So there's
Yeah.
some turmoil going on between her
A
and this
lot.
kind of person.
And,
Okay.
and then this last week, I think, she woke up and she said he had drugged her. She takes Ambien still at
Right.
night to sleep.
Right.
So that he had drugged her, and which she had had before, like scratch marks, not just from a nail, like she said, like from an ice pick on her breast and on her back, which she has had before. And he told her that you had scratched yourself.
But in fact, more likely it was
Was
Ted
him,
doing it.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so she had turned him in. She's turned him in 4 times. Once in North Carolina,
And
but then she didn't go back for the trial, so that was dropped.
That was dropped then.
Okay, so are you getting a little bit of a
I think we're starting to get a
idea?
clearer picture of what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's for attention or what, but so I think we're going on 2 weeks now. He did it last week, like
Right.
maybe on a Monday or so. I'd have to look at the dates. My niece told me, and so they came here. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and showed her breast where there were marks, and on her back, and they took pictures and so forth, and they went and arrested him that night for it. And then I think he went to court and so forth. So I think it's about 2 weeks
Okay.
now that happened. And so she always, I think, went back to him because he had a lot of money.
Mhm.
What does he do?
He's retired. He used to work, he was high up in the Miller
Okay.
brewery company.
Okay.
He has like 4 master's degrees. He's very intelligent,
Okay.
but
Somewhat.
I don't know.
Off kilter.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this occurred, and so she took him, brought him here, and he was arrested. And then I think I said it was last Thursday night
Okay.
is when. So it was between when that happened. I don't know the dates.
That's okay. No,
So that
we're following
So
this.
last Thursday night, this Anthony came to my house, and came into my garage, and I almost had a heart attack, It
Right.
scared the daylights out of
You
me.
weren't expecting
I was
that,
getting
obviously.
out of my car, yeah, of course. And he said he needed to talk to me, it was very important. And that's when he proceeded to tell me the story and he wanted to hear my side of the story, which was absolutely, totally different.
Right.
However, he said he lectured me and said, you don't have a right and you were wrong and so forth. I understand that. But you have to look at it from my position and where I was in my mind at that point and how I saw my father suffering.
Of course.
And I felt I wasn't doing it to get my father's money or anything like that. I have lived paycheck to paycheck all my life, and I will continue to live that way. Money was never the object of it. It was watching my father suffer. That is the reason.
Well, now we're on the subject of the money. Just because I want to walk through this a little bit with you.
Okay.
How is his assets divided up when this all happened? Like what?
3 ways.
Okay, so your brother obviously, and you and
my
your sister.
Right, the 3 of us.
Okay, so the house was sold and the money was divided.
Right.
By 3.
Right.
What other things did he have? Did he have bank accounts or other properties?
He had annuities.
Okay. And how much were those?
I think we got 80,000 each.
You got 80 each?
Yes.
After the sum of everything that was done, there was an annuity, there was a
right.
house.
There was a mortgage on the house, so once the house was sold, I think there was maybe 10 or 15
Okay.
that was left from the mortgage because that was in probate. My father's car, he had paid cash for 1 car, but my stepmom didn't want it, so they took it back in, and she said she would pay for the car. So there was a car payment, and so the car that I'm driving, because my car, I had an old car and it was getting ready to break down, so I said I would pay so we took it to Ocean Honda where they bought it and asked them how much they would buy it back for, and they said $13,000, and I think the amount owed was $8,000 on it. So while it was in probate, I paid the car payment out of my own money, and then if I asked my brother and sister if it would be fair if we might put the $13,000, and I gave her a check for $2,500 and my brother a check for $2,500, and then I paid the car off and I kept my father's
That makes sense.
car.
That's what you did. Okay, so you're trying to level that out. I understand what you're saying. Okay, understood that.
And the rest of it I put in the bank, and my grandson was born with birth defects, and he has to go to a private school, and I put money in a trust to pay. The scholarship paid for 80%, and I was paying the 20%. And even before my father passed away, I was paying the $160 or $85 a month, because my daughter is single.
Understood. Okay.
And my oldest daughter is the biological mother, of my grandson.
Right.
Okay.
However, my oldest daughter is bipolar and has tried to commit suicide so many times and has been in jail.
Where does she live at now?
She's living somewhere in Largo.
Okay, she's not living with you, is what we're
No,
saying. She's
At
offsite.
one time she did.
Okay.
So when my grandson was a year old, I know I'm going off base.
That's okay. It's nice to know the background.
When my grandson was a year old, I went to pick him up at her house, and she didn't answer the door. So I had to get the maintenance man to open the door. Of course, then they had to call the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
She was OD'd on the couch. I don't know what she took.
Okay.
And my grandson was in his bedroom with wet diapers. So they took her in the ambulance. I took my grandson home with me.
Right.
Within an hour,
DCF.
was at my place. And I had to go through a full background because, of course, he's my grandson. I would keep him.
Right.
Yes.
I raised him till he was 8 years old by myself. I did get power of attorney, but I did not legally adopt him. But I had to have power of attorney to take him to the doctor, to get him in school, and so forth. I had to take care of him that way. So that's what I did.
Did she visit him during this time or did not?
During those 8 years,
For the 8 years.
she off and on was in and out of our lives. Our lives. You know.
But he stayed with you though.
He
this whole
lived,
time.
I had.
Okay.
Okay. Then, my youngest daughter, they're only a year apart. And my youngest daughter is a judicial assistant. Okay.
What's her name?
Where?
Jennifer Johnson.
Jennifer Johnson, okay.
For Judge Holly Grissinger for domestic violence, which my sister was just in her courtroom this week when this last episode just happened. And she said, Mom, you're getting in your 50s and it's going to be really hard for you to be raising an 8-year-old and you're by yourself. And she said, Mom, let me legally adopt Trent. And I fought it because I couldn't give him up. He was my life. But knowing that 55, 56, I can't remember how old, I go back the years. I think we're 7 years now. We just celebrated 7 years. I said, okay, you can legally adopt him. I know you can, we will, it doesn't mean I could never see him again. It's just that it would be better in her, with him.
She has the means to take care of him.
And she was at a better age to take care of him.
Right.
That's
than me.
understandable.
I'm getting old. So
Understand that.
now I'm losing my train of
No,
thought.
you're
So
fine.
that's where that was. So,
Okay.
so I'm getting dementia as well.
Okay. So the thing is like I said.
So excuse me,
Okay,
officer. So that night he lectured me, and he told me that I need to turn myself in, or he was going to turn me in. And I told him it was none of his business. You were not there. It was not your choice to make. You have a stack of
Right.
injunctions and so forth against you. You have no right to tell me what to do.
Right.
However, I know this man is a liar, and I had a feeling, and he told me, don't tell your sister that I came over.
Did you talk to your sister?
No, sir. I haven't talked to her.
Even though he said that, you never, post that time, ever discussed this with her since that time.
When was
Never.
when was the last time you talked to your sister about this, or have you guys
Oh.
talked again?
Oh, we've talked about it a lot. We talked about it. She felt like everything she does is always centered around her as being a victim, like the way this man Anthony would treat her, the way Ted did this to her. She feels God is punishing her for what we did.
Okay.
Okay?
So she would mention this to you, and that was the thought
Yes,
process.
she had mentioned it maybe a month ago, a couple
Okay.
weeks ago,
Okay.
before she moved out. So I didn't know that she was in touch with Ted in North Carolina, and that he was going to be coming down here, and they were going to buy a condo together because our lease was coming up and move in together. Who would go back with someone that choked you?
It doesn't make sense, that's correct.
All right, so first of all, and she wouldn't go to counseling because she said she's smarter than any of the counselors. Okay, so even domestic.
The end result is she keeps going back to him, though.
Even when it came to domestic violence, this is a serious thing. She didn't. I think she went to 1 or 2 counseling meetings.
Right.
I think she went to 4 of them in North Carolina, and it gave her enough willpower to leave him. I think one of the 3rd times from up there after it happened, when she came back here. But
So let me ask you this: so when you guys ended up suffocating him,
yes, sir.
okay, what did after you guys killed him at that time? What did you guys think? What did you guys do? You guys went into the bedroom and just laid there? What did you guys talk about?
No, we didn't.
What did you do?
Didn't. We called it 911 immediately, and we didn't talk.
Did you call not right after it happened?
No, in the morning.
Okay.
Right.
What I'm saying is,
Right after this happened.
Right after this happened, you guys tried to put the pillow over him.
We really didn't discuss it anymore after that.
So you
You went
just,
to bed and laid in bed, but you didn't sleep. I think that's
I
what you
guess
said.
you wanted to block it out of your mind.
Right. All right. So you laid in bed, both you and Linda, and then the
We didn't talk.
nothing
I
was said.
don't remember any talking.
You just got up in the morning and then made the discovery.
I called 911.
911.
and what'd you say to your daughter at that time? When?
Papa. must have
You never
had-
told her what you just told us.
No.
She does not know this either.
Nobody knows it
Your
except
daughters know.
no one knows
none of
it
those.
except this 1 week moment where she told this.
This,
I hate to say it, but a monster.
okay.
Okay.
Not just because, but he is.
Okay. I got a couple quick questions. Don't take offense to these. They're just things that I'm curious about. You mentioned that you have a history of in your family of dementia and what have you. But you're clear on what you're telling us today.
Oh,
I think
yes.
You're extremely articulate, so I'm going to say you're very clear on what happened at that time and then relaying that incident to us today. It's all very clear in your mind and you're not
Yes.
cloudy about any of those
No, I'm
things.
not cloudy at all.
Okay. And at the time this happened, were you under any type of medication or alcohol or anything at the
No,
time?
not that night, no.
Okay, so you're very clear about what happened.
Yes.
There's no, we were on some type of narcotics and we did this, nothing like this. We were all clear about what was going on in your mind about what happened.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Right. Now, I have to ask you this, and I ask everybody this.
Yes.
As far as you don't suffer from any mental illness or anything?
Well, mental illness runs in my family. My
I
grandfather
understand.
used to have, at that time, they used to do shock treatment.
Oh, I understand that,
And
yes.
Our family used to be get together on Sunday nights, and my grandfather would act almost like my father was acting now,
Okay.
Mhm.
like out of control, and it would
Right.
take my two uncles and my father to hold him back, and they would have to call
I
911,
understand.
and then shocked. I didn't see this, but that's how they treated it
I
back
understand.
then.
Well, what I'm trying to establish here is you understand
Am
what's going on.
am I of right mind?
Right. I'm asking you understand you're a police station. We're talking to detectives.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very clear what's going
Yes,
on. That's all I'm trying to make
Yes,
sure that
sir.
you understand that.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all. And you haven't given us any indications that you don't, but I'm not in your mind. I'm trying to make sure that we're
No,
clear about
no,
what
I
we're
know.
talking about and what's happened.
Yes,
You're
sir.
clear then, you're clear now. And,
Exactly.
okay, that's all I'm just trying to establish. I'm just not trying to be offensive or
No,
anything.
no,
Just letting you know.
I'm saying I'm getting very, very forgetful, and I know which goes with age, but at work, you could tell me something and I will forget it within 1 minute. So that's why, I checked with my doctor on dementia and if there's something I could take or so forth to be on for that. So,
I understand. I completely
I
understand
can-
what you're saying now.
but right here and right now, I'm telling you the honest truth, and I know exactly what I'm saying. to
Okay.
you.
Okay,
All right, a couple more if you don't mind.
go ahead.
Let's go back. I hate to do this, but this part of it, where we go back to where he was on the couch and this was going on, was there anything that kind of happened? I don't want to kind of put words in your mouth, but was there anything that happened while the course of this was happening to your father? Did anything out of the ordinary happen? I'll just leave it that way. Did he do anything that?
Well, he was trying to unbuckle his pants.
Okay.
Like I guess you have the urge to go to the bathroom.
Now, did he ultimately do that, or?
No, yeah, he did wet his pants.
He did.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir,
So.
he did wet his pants.
Okay, now which stage of that was that? Was that the stage of when you just gave him the alcohol
I'm going
and
to be
the?
honest, I honestly can't remember
Okay.
exactly which part of the stage, but he did wet his pants.
Okay, so during the course of the entire thing,
Which I
something.
felt I couldn't understand that he kept reaching for his belt. I don't know if he had felt an urge during that time to go to the bathroom, but he did wet his pants.
Okay,
But I'm going to be honest, I can't
we know
remember.
what point of this happened.
I don't know.
Okay, that's
But he
understandable.
did do that. Yes.
Okay,
And he was struggling
Yes, sir.
okay.
and trying to
Yeah. Breathe.
push you guys away or anything?
Yeah, he didn't know. He was pretty much like out of it.
Because of the
but-
pills.
Yeah. Yes.
But do you believe he was?
Go ahead, sorry.
Do you believe he was trying to push you away?
I don't think he didn't. I don't think he knew what was going on.
He was just
Except that
resistant.
He was resistant.
Okay.
He didn't know what was going on.
Okay. And another question I have, sorry, this just is how I am. You said that you guys used a pillow to initially do this, which didn't work.
Are you asking me which pillow I used?
Yes,
I don't remember if it was a pillow on the couch, honestly, or
Okay.
I don't think.
You don't remember anybody going to get a pillow and coming back?
I'm going to be
Okay.
honest with you.
No, I want you to be honest.
I don't remember that.
No, I want you to be honest. I'm just
But I
trying to.
think that was the first step that we went to
You
next.
tried the pillow first,
Right,
the
and
pillow
it didn't
didn't
work. No.
so then
It kept
then she
pushing.
went
He
and
still
then
has
the washcloth. And then your
Yes.
sister
She said
took
we have to block both airways.
Then she went to go get a washcloth and came back with a washcloth from somewhere in the house. Somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay. But your recollection is that you don't remember if she went and got a pillow from somewhere else in the house or the
No.
pillow that was on the couch.
No,
You have no idea which one that is.
No,
Okay.
sir, I don't.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Do you happen to know where your sister is?
I don't know her address, but
You
I
don't?
know it's in a subdivision.
Does she work?
No, she's on disability. I think she had like a mild stroke, I think, when she was working.
How long ago was that?
I think we're going on 5 or 6 years now.
Does she drive?
She does drive.
What kind of car does she have?
Well, let me put it this way. In one of her eyes, she has optic neuritis, and so it's very blurry, and I can't remember if it's her left or right eye.
She has it somewhere, though.
She has it somewhere.
Okay.
But it did not stop her from driving, but it is blurry, and she's had surgery on it, and cataracts and removed, and so forth, and she wears glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But she has no peripheral vision, so when she has to turn, whether it's left or to the right, she has to literally turn her head to see. Okay. However, 3 weeks ago, okay, we have been fighting because
You and her.
her and I
Yes.
have been arguing. She has become very secretive. She didn't want me to know that she was going to move in with Ted.
Right.
I went, I don't care who you move in with.
Let me ask you this. Could we characterize this as being a sore point between you and her about this Ted thing? Not Ted, but maybe Ted.
Well, I'll tell you what the sore spot is,
Okay.
that she keeps accusing me of being with this.
And that was what I was getting to. That's exactly what I was thinking. So, but that's not happening, but it's...
So I start to stutter when I get upset about that.
Okay.
To this very day, does she still do that? And whatever my sister was doing, and she was seeing, and her daughter was not speaking to her, number one, because she was seeing this Anthony, who has these injunctions against him.
Right.
And he's a bad person, very bad. And they're like a match made in heaven. Excuse me.
Okay.
And so her daughter won't speak to her. She can't see her grandson. Then when she goes back with Ted, who had tried to strangle.
From bad to bad. There's nothing... I understand what you're
So
saying.
they haven't really spoken very much at all. And, okay, now I've lost where I was going with. So I tell my daughter, except for what we're discussing, I was going to take it to the grave with me.
What about your brother?
No, I never told my brother.
And is it your impression that your sister also did not tell your brother?
That's correct.
He would probably called you, or there had been some contact. If she had done that, but your
I'm sure.
recollection is that's not what happened. Okay.
Yeah. When I had broke that off after the 1 month with that Anthony,
Right.
I felt bad that I had brought someone that my daughter did a background check on him and told me that he had these injunctions. Well, that was on my mind. And so that was part of the reason, but also he was very bossy and reprimanded me like I was a child.
Right.
You know, like you can't talk. I mean, well, first of all, he was married and he had 50 million girlfriends, you know, and it was just wrong. Okay, it was just a mistake. But those two she called it alpha male, alpha female, and they
So for them, it's fine.
whatever. So, but from that August 23rd on, I never had contact with him, except if I ran into him in the house when he was there visiting her.
Other than that, you wouldn't have no
Which
contact.
was uncomfortable thing.
I'm certain that it was.
It was.
And I will tell you another thing since we're in here.
Certainly.
And so anyway, I would tell my daughter Jennifer, yeah, 1 minute they would be together, and the next minute they would break up. 1 minute, and this has nothing to do with whatever.
Just trying to get the background. I appreciate that.
1 minute they were together, 1 minute they broke up. 1 minute together, 1 minute they break up. So you break up with them, I would go along with her. I try to keep peace with her. He's a nasty person. He's horrible. He's together. That's your choice. You want to be with him. That's your choice. I don't have to be. I'm happy in my life. I've moved on. I am in love, and I've never been with someone in 18 years like the person I am with now.
Okay.
So, she got angry that I was telling my daughter, all these things about her and Anthony, that he was still coming over and so forth. Because she was telling everyone that she wasn't seeing him anymore.
But she was, though.
She was, and I was telling my daughter.
The truth.
The truth. And my daughter, I think, sometimes would tell my niece, my sister's daughter, who's a paralegal, by the way. Mm-hmm. And so my sister had an argument with my niece, and she was telling my niece that she's 61 years old, she's an adult, she can see whoever she wants, it's none of her business. Annie, you're not perfect, you see who you want, and I'll see who I want.
Right.
So that's how that went. So we're getting ready to move out, and she says, I said, you need to check everything in the house. You have to make sure that all the pictures in the walls and so forth.
Right.
I have her phone number.
Oh.
I have my sister's phone number.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay.
So
Continue.
anyway, she I had told Joe that I had seen someone, prior to him, and it was only 4 dates, and then my sister started seeing him one time while I hadn't broke up with him anyway. So.
What was his opinion about that? Just to have. Whatever.
That's someone you dated
Of course.
for me.
Right.
That was it.
You just told him this because you're informative and so on and so on. Okay.
So, my sister and her daughter had a very bad argument one night, and then I started the next day at work. I started getting these text messages from my sister saying that I backstabbed her by telling my daughter about her and Anthony, and how could I do that to her, and these things. You can read my phone, and somehow I wouldn't put it past my sister to do anything. And then I got this strange text message. It sounded like she was answering someone's question or something.
Maybe it wasn't meant for you, it
wasn't meant for
somebody else.
Right.
Okay.
So when I went to Joe's house, I go there Friday evening and I stay until Sunday. And I asked him, I said, did you happen to hear from my sister today? And he said, no, honey, I didn't. But the next day, he told me that he had heard from my sister. She sent him an instant message. Now, prior to this, we had discussed about the screens in the house. Because when we moved in, she took out all the screens because she likes to have clear glass. She didn't like screens. Okay. So I said, we have to make sure everything is put back in order.
As it was, right.
So she said, I think there's 3 screens in the garage. And I said, okay, make sure they're all put together. She said, all right, I will do it before you get home from work. And I said, well, I'm at Jennifer's tonight. We'll do it Thursday night, and we'll help each other, because I believe one of them was bent.
Okay.
Prior to that, she had told me months earlier that she took the screen out of her bedroom window, and this guy Anthony used to come in the middle of the night and come
Through the
in
screen, through the window.
screen instead of the front door. Okay? So she sent Joe, my boyfriend, an instant message and told him that I am not the person he thinks I am, and that I have been seeing another man this whole 5 months that we've been dating, and that he comes in through a screen in my bedroom window, and she's heard him talking in my room.
None of
Now
that
he
happened.
knew, of course.
Right.
And I go to work in the morning. I don't open my blinds. I come home from work. It's dark. I don't open my shades.
Right.
And most of the time she was gone anyway, so I don't leave my windows open.
She's just starting trouble, basically.
So she sent that to him. And he didn't know how to tell me because he knows I'm very sensitive. And so that night, prior to telling me the next day, he said, honey, can I have Jennifer's phone number? Because he wanted to call my daughter Jennifer to see how was he going to handle telling me this without me having a stroke.
He's on good terms with her, so he can have
with
done
my
that.
daughter,
That's correct.
yes.
Okay.
So I found that, I thought, okay, well that's fine. In case of emergency, my diverticulitis, I could have a heart attack. So
Right.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Mary-Beth. What's Linda's her phone number?
I don't have my glasses, so you're going to have
Okay.
to read it. Okay. Context. Okay. Sorry.
No problem. 727-276-4306. Alright.
I believe that because I usually date them because she used to change her phone number all the time. So, or we can go to messages, and then we can see there because you have 2 Lindas there.
Okay.
So we'll go to
Messages.
the message, and this is my I twist. This is her. So if that number matches, then that's the correct one.
727-276-4306. Okay.
Is that what you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so Mary-Beth, you understand what you did, what you guys did
Yes, sir.
was wrong.
Yes, sir.
And
Are you arresting me?
I am. Okay? I am going to arrest you.
We're bound by this. This is serious business. We've taken everything into account about what's going on here. So we got a full picture, which is what we wanted. But in the end, we actually have no choice about that. So he's very correct about that. So now how this all shakes out down the road, I do not know that. But as it stands right now, you can see where we're kind of ethically and morally bound. Although I get what you're saying, so it's not like it fell on deaf ears. I understand that. But it maybe have to be decided by somebody other than us sitting in this room. You understand that? We can all maybe agree on some things in here, but we don't get to make that decision. So that's why he's trying to explain it to you. So just so you know what's happening.
So, I have some paperwork to do. Okay? And from here, you are going to go to jail. Alright?
No, it's not all right.
We understand
I
that.
understand that.
We've been honest here, so I think it's only fair we tell you the truth. I don't think that we should not do that. That's fair. Even if you didn't like it, we should tell you the truth.
Are you arresting her?
Well, we're going to talk to her.
I'm surprised you didn't speak with her first.
Okay. So, this is what we're going to do, okay? Alright, unfortunately, I am going to be placing you under arrest, okay?
Right?
Go ahead and stand
Yes,
up.
sir.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. We're not worried about it. Just relax.
No.
You're just going to be hanging out.
Just hanging out.
You're going to be sitting back down, so you're not going
No, I'm
anywhere.
gonna faint.
Okay, well, I want you to sit back down. I want you to faint. Okay.
Okay, just sit back down.
You're not carrying anything, obviously. you have a purse or anything with just your phone and your keys. So,
Yeah.
okay. To answer your question, yes, we're very thorough, so yes, we'll be talking to her and getting our own conclusion about how that's going to go. You understand? So if you think that she's walking away from this, that's not going to happen. Okay.
Do I contact my daughter and tell
Yeah,
her?
we'll get that all going. So, yes, you're gonna be in for a few moments. We'll work some of these things out.
I can't wipe my nose.
Okay.
I won't make you take them off.
No, we'll make arrangements for this. He just had the key, and I don't have it in my pocket to be embarrassed. Just let him know. So, we'll get that handled. You're only here because we have to do it. Do I think you're going to be any different than you're? No, that's not going to happen. We both know that. So.
Pardon me?
You're only handcuffed because we have to do it. Do I think that you're going to do something wrong? No, we both know that's not going to happen. So that's what I was trying to tell you.
I've never been in jail.
Well, of course not. Well, like I said, your sister's not going to go unscathed in any of this. So I'm just saying that would be unfair and not right. So. Now, she probably will have a slightly different attitude about this, my guess would be, based on what you've told me about her. You said that she's not a very nice person, so she may take this much differently than you did, so.
Well, you're going to get a whole different story from her.
Well, we'll kind of wander through that then. We're good at detecting
But
deception.
there was only the two of us, so.
I understand. But sometimes we put things together like what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and that type of thing, so. We'll figure it out. So, like I said, we can tell who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. So, she may try to do that, but in the end, it's not going to matter for her. So, very unfortunate, but like I said, I do understand. So,
I'm very sorry.
oh, I understand. You're in a difficult position. We understand that. And the way that you laid it out to us is the way it was. I'm certain of that. So.
I didn't change anything.
No. Not at all. Okay, he's going to do a little paperwork here. You're going to sit here just for a few moments. You're good.
Can I move back?
I didn't hear that.
Can I sit back?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You're totally fine. You got about 3 or 4 inches of seat there where you can lean back and.
Yeah, well, my knees.
You said you had bad knees and stuff.
This leather.
If you want to put it on there, or you want it on this, or no? Okay. What's on here? Anything just your case and stuff like that? Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll be right outside here, so. No issue. Put them in the front stand for a minute. All right, I'm gonna have my glasses on, so you have to bear with me, all right?
Yeah.
Just make this a little bit more comfortable. I'm gonna take both these off because I can't really see what's going on back here. So. Okay, put your hands in the hang on. Roll them out of there, you're good. All right, let's get your hands in the front, you can sit down. Put these on loose, don't kind of crank it around a little bit. Okay, take that seat. I'll get you some more of that, okay?
Oh, God.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Does your sister have a car? She drive at all, or?
What I was trying to tell you was that she, I don't, they found out with her other eye, supposedly, that she was going blind in it.
Okay.
But, so she had a car, and she sold it, and I think she's been driving Ted's car.
Ted's car. What does he have? Or do you know?
He has, I think, an SUV, maybe I don't know what kind it is. So.
Okay. Then
But,
Ted.
however,
Mhm.
I think he was able to go back to the condo after they released him. He does have an ankle bracelet on,
Right.
but I think he got the his vehicle back.
His vehicle.
So
So he may be in the wind for all we know. They may not.
Well, no, I think he has a court date coming up.
Oh, so he has
but
to-
he's going to, I think they're going to allow him to go back to North Carolina.
Okay.
But
So right now
after-
she doesn't have her car.
But
She
I
is-
don't know if she's gone out and bought a car. She may have gone out and bought a car.
Well, you don't know
But
that
I
she said.
haven't spoke right
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
since last Thursday
Okay. All right.
was the last
All right,
time.
we'll get
So
to
I don't know.
We'll get to the bottom of that then. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh. God.
What's the actual name of your business? We were standing there. I didn't catch the name. What's the name of the business that you work at? We're not contacting. It's just paperwork. You need to.
Practice forces.
I have had that hearing.
Practice
Practice
forces.
forces. Practice forces. Okay. And how tall are you?
5'6",
Okay. Roughly how much do you weigh?
141.
Pretty big. Okay. Practice forces. Okay. Thank you.